Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. Young and Restless just laid the groundwork for Dumas' party to unleash total chaos. Back in Genoa City with a crisis here and a convenience there, Young and Restless has set the scene for a perfectly crafted plan, or two, to spiral wildly out of control at Dumas' party in France and unleash chaos back in Genoa City. As we all well know, Kyle signing a contract with Victor did absolutely nothing to deter the Black Knight from trying to ruin his relationship with Claire. Rather, it seems to have given him even more motivation to succeed at wrecking the romance. With Audra angling for an invite to Dumas's private party, Victor saw an opportunity, which is why he will give her what she wants. In return, he'll expect her to convince Kyle to accompany her to France. The perfect place to put into action her scheme to prove Jack's son unworthy of Claire. This is where the aforementioned crisis comes in. With Cole's medical misery, Young and Restless has created a situation where, should Kyle agree to go to Nice with Audra, and you know he will eventually be convinced to, Claire will be unable to accompany him as his +1 because of her dad's dire circumstances. Thanks to Nate conveniently being left out of the party picture as well, and having to hold down the fort at Winter's Inca, Audra will be free to work her wiles on Kyle and get the mustache the result he's demanded as a condition of financing her new cosmetics company, Vibranti. Thus, the groundwork has been laid for Audra to corner Kyle into a compromising position at the gathering, with Victor and a whole lot of other witnesses there to capture the moment. All it would take is a photograph of Audra and Kyle together looking intimate to create doubt in Claire's mind. She's already skeptical of his involvement with former partner and is well aware that they used to mix business with pleasure. So, Kyle canoodling with his ex-lover while Claire's sitting vigil at her ailing father's bedside will generate exactly the reaction Victor's hoping to provoke. Claire may end up heartbroken and angry, but how will it create total chaos? Well, if Claire shares this information with Nate, leaving her boyfriend out of the loop could backfire mightily on Audra, whose perfectly crafted plan could spiral wildly out of control and get her dumped. But that's not all. Claire and Nate may snap over the perceived betrayal of their significant others overseas, but the Abbotts will lose their minds when they find out Kyle signed a contract that requires him to leave Genoa City for good if he hurts Claire, and that the mustache intends to enforce it. Think of the implications given that would mean Kyle taking Harrison away from Jack, Diane, and Summer's side of the family as well. Apparently, Victor isn't too attached to the little guy, but one would think Nikki would have some strong words for her husband for causing such immense upheaval, all in the name of protecting their granddaughter. And Victoria will go nuts. Young and Restless has perfectly laid the groundwork for Audra and Kyle to end up at Dumas's party without their significant others, where she'll be able to create the illusion that a betrayal has occurred. This will have huge consequences for him, his family, and his relationship with Claire. As for Audra, her big ambitions may backfire on her spectacularly if her plot spirals out of control. Genoa City buzzed with anticipation. Dumas, the luxury fashion house, was throwing the party of the year, an exclusive soiree promising elegance, seduction, and secrets. Invitations had gone out to only the most elite, with whispers that it wouldn't just be a party, but a reckoning. Phyllis Summers glanced at the envelope again, the shimmering gold wax seal stamped with the Dumas crest. She smirked. "If chaos has a name, it's this party," she murmured. Nick Newman leaned over her shoulder at Society. "You going?" Phyllis gave him a sly look. "Would I miss a chance to watch Genoa City's most polished mask slip? I wouldn't dare." Across town, Sharon Rosales held her invitation with less enthusiasm. Something about it felt off. She sipped her tea at Crimson Lights, unaware that a storm was already brewing, and she was in its path. Chapter 2. Mariah. Snaps at home, Mariah Copeland and Tessa Porter were deep in a disagreement. Aria was finally asleep, the baby monitor lit with a soft glow beside them. "You promised we'd take a break from touring after the last album," Mariah said, her voice tight. "But now you're talking about going back on the road," Tessa sighed. "Mariah, I thought we were on the same page. The momentum's building. This isn't just about music. It's about setting up Aria's future." "You mean sacrificing her present?" Mariah's voice cracked. "She needs us, Tessa. Not a FaceTime lullaby." Tessa stepped back. "You think I don't care about her? Or you?" "I think," Mariah whispered, "you're getting lost again and leaving us behind." Tessa froze, tears brimming. "That's not fair." "No," Mariah snapped. "What's not fair is watching you chase a dream that doesn't include your family." The silence between them was louder than their argument. Chapter 3. Phyllis drops the bomb later that day. Phyllis made a surprise visit to Sharon's house, unannounced as always. Sharon raised a wary brow. "This better be important, Phyllis." Phyllis didn't bother with pleasantries. "You and Nick need to prepare yourselves. Something's coming. And no, it's not just the Dumas party, though that will be the epicenter." Sharon folded her arms. "Spit it out." Phyllis leaned forward. "Sally Spectra isn't just staying in town. She's taking over Dumas' North American division. And guess who helped make it happen?" Sharon stiffened. "Don't tell." "Me, Nick," Phyllis confirmed. "And he didn't tell either of us." As if on cue, Nick walked in the door. "What's going on?" "You tell us," Sharon said coldly. "Been working with Sally behind the scenes?" Nick's face fell. "It's not what you think." "Oh, really?" Phyllis smirked. "Because it looks like you handed your ex a golden key to Genoa City's power seat." Nick ran a hand through his hair. "She's not my ex the way you two think. We're working together. That's it." "You keep telling yourself that," Sharon said, her voice like ice. Chapter 4. A Party. Like no other VE, Dumas party arrived like a tidal wave of elegance. Held at the Grand Phoenix, the hotel glowed with opulence. Guests arrived in gowns and tuxedos, unaware that beneath the surface of champagne bubbles, chaos waited to erupt. Mariah and Tessa arrived separately. Tessa performing a set, Mariah attending out of obligation to her job with Chancellor Winters. Across the room, Sally Spectra stood next to Nate Hastings and Audra Charles, her red gown as fiery as her ambition. Phyllis watched the interactions from the bar. She clocked Nick's discomfort, Sharon's stiff smile, and Mariah's simmering mood. She knew something was going to break, and then it happened. Chapter 5. Mariah versus Tessa. Public showdown. Tessa stepped off stage to thunderous applause only to run straight into Mariah. "We need to talk," Mariah hissed. "Now? Here?" Tessa frowned. Mariah's emotions, barely held in check, snapped. "You used Aria for press. That little photo with her backstage. The one all the outlets picked up? You didn't even ask me first." "I was proud," Tessa whispered. "I wanted to share her with the world." "You shared her all right. Like she's part of your brand, like we're just accessories in your spotlight." The room quieted as the confrontation became public. Sharon tried to move toward them, but Nick held her back. "You don't get it," Mariah said, her voice cracking. "Every time I think we're building something together, you remind me I'm just the anchor, holding you down." Tessa's face crumpled. "Then maybe you should let go." The gasp that followed was collective. Tessa fled the room. Mariah, stunned, stood alone as tears welled in her eyes. Chapter 6. Phyllis unleashes the truth. The party, now cracking under emotional tension, got worse when Phyllis took the mic. "Sorry to interrupt," she said sweetly. "But since everyone's here, and we're celebrating the new chapter of Dumas, I thought I'd add some spice." Nick groaned. Phyllis, don't. Oh, I will, she said with a wink. You all know Sally Spectra is the new head of Dumas North America, but what you don't know is that she didn't do it alone. Eyes turned. She had help. From a Newman. From Nick, the crowd murmured. And if that weren't messy enough, Phyllis continued, Nick's been playing both sides, working with Sally while pretending to support Sharon's non-profit ventures, using company resources without disclosure. Isn't that right, Nick? Phyllis, Nick started. No, Sharon cut in, voice shaking. Is that true? Nick was silent. Sharon turned and walked out. Chapter 7. Unraveling threads. As the night unraveled, so did the alliances. Mariah tried to leave, but Devin Hamilton stopped her. You okay? No, she whispered. I think I just lost everything. Meanwhile, Nate confronted Audra. You knew this about Sally and didn't say anything? Audra shrugged. You didn't ask? Phyllis, satisfied but wary, left the party alone. But not before catching a glimpse of Jeremy Stark in the crowd. Impossible, she muttered. He's supposed to be gone. And then, from the shadows, a new player emerged. A woman in black, face obscured, watching everyone with laser focus. Let the games begin, she murmured. Chapter 8. Fallout. The morning after, Genoa City was reeling. Sharon refused to take Nick's calls. Mariah stayed at Abby's, heartbroken and withdrawn. Tessa checked into a hotel. Phyllis was contacted anonymously. Meet me. Tonight. There's more. Nick tried to do damage control with Victoria and Victor, but they were less than impressed. And Sally? She stood tall. And Sally? She stood tall in the Dumas office, sipping coffee, reviewing headlines. She knew the chaos would paint her as opportunistic. She didn't care. They underestimated her again. Chapter 9. Revelations and Regrets. By week's end, everything had shifted. Sharon discovered something darker beneath Dumas, falsified contracts, hidden investors. Nick found out the anonymous investor backing Sally was Adam. Phyllis met her anonymous source. It was Jeremy Stark. Alive and planning revenge, Mariah and Tessa finally spoke, quietly, painfully, in the park. I didn't mean it, Tessa said, about letting go. I know, Mariah said, but maybe we need space, for area, for us. A heartbreaking silence passed between them. And then, the woman in black stepped into the Chancellor Winters building. Amanda Sinclair was back in town. Chapter 10. The final twist as Phyllis pieced together Stark's motives as Nick begged Sharon for forgiveness. As Mariah and Tessa tried to rebuild, the real purpose of Dumas' party came into focus. It wasn't a celebration. It was a smokescreen for power grabs, for manipulation, for revenge. Stark wasn't just back. He had partners. And the woman in black? Amanda wasn't alone. She was working with someone even more dangerous, Hillary's twin sister, Jordan, alive and rebranded. Genoa City would never be the same again.